I was in Lisbon when the message came in. 11 p.m. There, late afternoon at home. The phone vibrated on the cafe table like it had something to confess. I almost let it go to voicemail because everything else had gone quiet. The river darkening, the last tram scraping past, and I wanted that quiet to last. Her voice was thin, pressed flat by walls. She tried to whisper and it hurt to hear the effort of it. "Grandpa." She locked me in here. No food. Just a bucket of water. Maybe day 7, 8. I'm so cold. Please. I don't know how much longer I can. The message cut itself off. Not a dramatic ending. Just a battery dying or a signal failing or a hand shaking too much to hold the button. Distance rearranges your sense of guilt. In the minutes after, I told myself a series of small lies to survive the walk back to the hotel. That the phone had glitched. That she was exaggerating. That someone else, anyone else, would hear it and do the right thing. I called my daughter. No answer. I called the house. Busy. I called again. Nothing. Airports are designed to keep you from thinking. Lines, announcements, the choreography of removal. I paid too much for a ticket I didn't look at. I remember the plastic smell of the seat, the way my knee shook the whole flight, the steward asking if I was all right and me saying yes because it was easier than explaining that all right had already left the building. I kept seeing the storm cellar the way I had first been shown it years ago, like a point of pride. Practical. Safe. A place for tornadoes and preserves. I had nodded, approving. Families teach you how to misname things. By the time I landed, the sun was up and the news had already outrun me. The street was blocked by cruisers. Blue lights didn't flash so much as sit there, patient and undeniable, turning the house into an exhibit. I parked where they told me and stood on the sidewalk like a man waiting for his name to be called in a hospital. A neighbor recognized me and started to talk. I held up a hand. I didn't want a version yet. I wanted facts, and even that felt greedy. Inside, there was the smell of cold earth carried up the stairs, like a body temperature that didn't belong indoors. I didn't see the door opened. I didn't need to. What mattered was the bucket set aside with a tag on it, the way everyone moved more slowly near the bottom of the stairs, as if the air itself had weight. They brought her out wrapped in something that looked like 3 blankets pretending to be one. She didn't run to me. She didn't cry. Her eyes slid past faces the way you learn to do when faces have failed you. I said her name once, softly, and she nodded, as if acknowledging a sound she recognized but couldn't place yet. There was talk later. Explanations offered in a voice that had practiced calm. Rules. Lessons. A story about discipline that forgot to include a child. I didn't argue. I learned a long time ago that arguments are a way to keep power alive when it deserves to die. The officers wrote. They asked for dates. They asked who knew. They asked me what I had heard, and I played them the message. The room changed when they heard it. That was the moment, quiet, procedural, when control left the family and didn't come back. Handcuffs make a sound you can't unhear once it's attached to someone you've eaten with. The house stopped being a house. It became a site. Words do that when authority arrives. They strip the sentiment away and leave the structure. At the hospital, the lights were too bright and she flinched every time someone new entered. I sat where she could see me without having to turn her head. When she fell asleep, it was shallow and fierce, like an animal that knows it's been moved. I stayed still. Staying is a skill. In the weeks after, there were forms and interviews and the slow work of undoing a lie that had been lived inside her body. She slept with the lamp on. She counted days out loud even when there was no need. I learned not to correct her. Counting was a way to prove that time could be measured again. People asked me how it felt to get there in time. I didn't know how to answer that. I got there after. The victory, if that's what it was, came without music. A record filed, a door locked from the outside for the last time, a child alive. Consequence replacing dismissal. Safety no longer assumed but practiced. Sometimes she sends me voice messages now from her room. Ordinary ones. Complaints about homework. The sound of her cat. I listen all the way to the end, even when nothing happens.